guys, in today's video we're going to be checking out the new DC Collectibles DC Gallery, the Joker and Harley Quinn Bookends. Based on artwork from NOOLIGAN Sulk and sculpted by Paul Harding, the bookends stand approximately 8.5 inches in height. Let me just first start by saying this, that these bookends are extremely heavy. Heavier actually than some of the larger DC Collectible statues I've reviewed on this channel before. They're very weighted indeed. Of course, they will split in half and you will put your bat books in the middle. I'll show you that in a second, but of course we want to have a look at the bookends first and foremost. Taking one half of the bookends, underneath you've got, in this case, artist proof number 4, but you will have a 5,000 copy limited release of these bookends. Each of the halves do have their own corresponding 4 felt feet on the corners to prevent any scratching on surfaces. And in fact, probably to help showcase these a little bit better, I've put it back on the turntable just so I can give you some better looks without having to literally lift each piece and spin it around. First and foremost, well, the scene here depicts Batman, poor Batman, wrapped up and roped around a giant bomb. Let me also stress this by saying that the bomb is currently lit, so time is not in Batman's favor. On the one side of the bomb, which might I add is only a half bomb, of course, because it's going to be sitting against the wall, half the bomb is marked with a giant heart that says J+H. Joker and Harley Quinn. The other side, you've got yourself kind of a bat crossbones, skull and crossbones, a very crude drawing, I'm sure, done by the Joker himself. And then in the middle, the poor Cape Crusader is tied up around this giant bomb. And then he's got himself like a little alarm clock in the middle, I guess indicating how much time he has, which is somewhat strange because, well, the fuse is already lit. I'm sure a clock necessarily won't be helping him. One of the funnier aspects that I like about the bookends is the fact that all 3 characters are wearing Converse shoes, or the equivalent to a basketball sneaker. Harley Quinn's is red and black alternating, Joker's is black and white, and Batman's in the middle is even wearing his own, a black and white pair for him as well. Both Joker and Harley Quinn come across very stylized in this, and I think of the two, probably more so a little to Joker. Batman in the middle seems slightly annoyed. I don't know if I'm the only one that sees that. Yes, I quite like the look on Batman's face, despite the fact he has a big split down the middle, which will be halved in a second. I really do like the expression that he's got the one eyebrow up, and it looks like he's trying to figure out a way out of this. Here's the somewhat ironic alarm clock in the middle, signifying how much time Batman has left to free himself from the ropes, despite the fact, again, that the fuse is lit on the very giant bomb behind him. Speaking of bombs, one of the touches I do like on it is that the giant wick has a somewhat translucent flame, as opposed to just making a solid flame. I really do like the fact that that's somewhat clear, and that it's been painted or slightly airbrushed in a nice orange and yellow. Batman has a really neat look to him, and if I just spin him slightly, you can see his arms are tied up behind his back and his cape is draping all the way down. It's really interesting, though, once again, to see him wearing a pair of sneakers as opposed to his default black boots. Harley Quinn on the one side is slightly leaning against Batman with a bomb in her hand, and Joker's got like a little bang pistol in his hand. Harley Quinn goes to a more traditional-looking outfit, relying on the classic duds of the black and red alternating patches, the Harley Quinn little diamonds, her jester hat, and of course she's got the little bomb in her hand, which it looks like she's kissed, as indicated there's a little kissy mark on the front of it. I quite like the look of Harley Quinn's face. Very giant blue eyes, and she actually comes across a little bit more like a marionette doll, or like one of those old vintage dolls, as she's got a very stark, rosy cheek on either side. And I do really like, and Batman actually had this as well, I like the little cross Xing there on her face. It kind of gives the overall appearance of the Bookends almost appearing as if they're more like an older collectible, as opposed to something that just recently came out. Joker's style takes a slight departure, incorporating a checkerboard black and white shirt, and he's also got a polka dot tie, a purple vest, and of course trademark green slacks. His look is rather unique. In fact, it actually kind of resembles closer to a Pinocchio in the way that they've got the nose much longer here on Joker's face. The one eye is squinting while the other eye is open. Again, I really do think it's a neat looking take on Joker, especially the fact that they've got what looks to be almost a stitching around his lips, and he's got the same sort of X cross around his chin area here. Overall, I really like the color palette that they used for this, keeping both Batman, the Bomb, and the ground also a very muted sort of grays and blacks. It's only really the color introductions by Joker and Harley Quinn where you get those extra pops of color. And by virtue of the fact that they kept the Bomb on a dark color as well, it also really helps to bring the heart a little bit more to the forefront where it stands out amongst the otherwise somewhat dark colors. And of course these are bookends, so we're going to want to split the bookends in half, spread those apart, and then we'll want to fill it with some, I think some bat material would be nice. So we're just going to grab a couple of the Nightfalls, part 1, part 2, part 3, and Endgame, a couple of the other Batman trade paperbacks, some of my personal favorites, and one cannot, of course, not have in their library The Killing Joke, which we'll also put in there as well. Put the two bookends together, the two halves together, and you've got yourself quite a considerable showpiece. Again, really liking how you've got the Batman halved and then corresponding Joker and Harley Quinn on either side of that. It does definitely look really nice. And by the weight, the sheer weight of the bookends themselves, it really helps keeping everything together. There's no way any of this stack of books are going to collapse over. There's a considerable amount of weight on both sides here. To be honest, I wasn't sure how I felt about these bookends looking at the images that they released online, but now physically in hand, I actually do find myself liking it a lot more than I did before. I really like the interesting take that Hey Nanu Nooligan Salk did to these three characters. Joker has a really more, I think, more unique look to him, while Harley Quinn still stays to a more classic design. Although Harley Quinn still looks like she's a little bit more doll-like, which I think is kind of a nice take on her. Joker is a little bit more drastic, incorporating a longer nose. He's a little bit more lankier. He almost kind of looks like someone that you would see from maybe from like the 50s, like a 50s sort of Pinocchio Joker. Batman stays pretty consistent as well, although I have to admit, I do like the touches by incorporating the sneakers on his feet. Really, again, a nice looking showpiece, whether you have it in statue form like I currently have right now, or if you want to split it in half and bring in some of your Bat library books. If you have a lot of Bat books in your collection, need some bookends to keep them up, I think this is a really nice piece to have on display. Not only is a nice showpiece, but it's also practical as well, as it would help to keep your Bat library in order. The Hey Nanu, Nooligan Salk, Joker, and Harley Quinn bookends are now currently available in comic book stores. So if you guys are interested in picking this up for yourself, you can head to your local comic book stores. If, let's say by chance, your local comic store doesn't have them, that's okay. Generally, they can order them in as well. Sometimes it takes a couple of weeks or so. I've done that too with statues that I wanted to get. They didn't have them at the moment, ordered them in, took a couple of weeks, and was able to go in and pick them up. So comic book stores are always more than happy to help you guys out, and in turn make sure you help out your local comic book stores, because it allows you to go in from time to time and pick up cool pieces just like this. If you guys also haven't had a chance to hit that little subscribe button down below, make sure you do that now. Of course, more videos will be coming your way as well. If you also want to go back and check out some of the statues that I've done from DC Collectibles, include some Wonder Woman, some Jokers, and other cool stuff, there's a playlist on this channel that you can go back and watch at your viewing pleasure as well. As always, guys, thanks for watching as you always do. I'll see you next time.